my big opinion. Look, I am no Donald Trump cheerleader. He's clearly a dishonest man, a crooked businessman. What billionaire is not? He's probably unfit for high office. He has a disgusting attitude to women. And I think it's deeply wrong that he failed to concede the 2020 election, with losers' consent being a central plank of democracy. It's worth pointing out, though, that Hillary Clinton did not initially accept the presidential result in 2016. Notwithstanding multiple court cases denying it, there may have been irregularities in voting in 2020. Who knows? Which is why I think postal votes are a disaster and shouldn't happen anywhere, not in America and not in the UK. If it was good enough for the public to only be able to vote on polling day 50 years ago, why not now? In the US, there are valid concerns about allegedly dodgy voting machines and bags of voting slips being delivered to electoral counts in the dead of night. It might be above board, but let's be polite and say that mail-in ballots are open to corruption. If you don't agree, then I think you're talking ballots. The truth is that millions of Americans now no longer believe the outcomes of presidential elections. That is a profound problem, not helped by Donald Trump, his election denial, and the appalling attack by his supporters on America's democratic home at the US Capitol on January the 6th. But this latest Kangaroo court in New York demonstrates that it's not only America's democracy which is suffering a crisis of credibility. It's the legal system too, with this former president dragged over hot coals for what amounts to an accounting oversight about how funds in the region of £150,000 were filed following Trump's relationship with a porn star. This case took place in Democrat-supporting New York, in a court led by a Democrat-supporting judge and a likely Democrat-supporting jury, given that New York is staunchly Democrat as a state. Did Donald Trump get a fair trial? You tell me. It's still not clear what exact crime Donald Trump committed, and the prosecution's key witness was Trump's ex-lawyer, Michael Cohen, who admits that he stole from the former president. And he is a reliable witness. And yet still, in spite of all of that, Donald Trump lost. It's my view that the guy had no chance. And whilst I only agree with him every leap year, Boris Johnson is right to call this court verdict a political hit job. Meanwhile, the once great actor and now victim of the woke mind virus, Robert De Niro, ranted outside the court, bizarrely saying that Trump will destroy the world if he wins again, and that he will never leave office if re-elected. Take a listen.
Use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed. That's the tyrant he's telling us he'll be. And believe me, he means it. This buffoon running for president, no, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators.
Robert De Niro, not sure about those sunglasses, should have gone to Specsavers. Other opticians are available. Robert De Niro wishes that Donald Trump does not re-enter the White House. Well, I wish that Robert De Niro hadn't made the flop comedy sequel Meet the Fockers. 2 hours of my life I won't get back. Schindler's List had more laughs. Now, Mr. De Niro is a victim of something called Trump derangement syndrome, similar to its UK cousin, Brexit derangement syndrome, in which your tribal antipathy to something is so all-consuming you can no longer see beyond your own echo chamber. You can't see that the current president, Joe Biden, is so frail and confused, he gets lost going into his own house. He can't finish sentences, and he now has more nurses than security personnel. You can't see that Joe Biden's presided over America's humiliating withdrawal from Afghanistan, which left the Taliban, a motley crew of hateful, dangerous thugs, with billions of pounds of military equipment. You can't see that Joe Biden has further imperiled the long-term stability of America, which is essentially a massive pyramid scheme with yet more borrowed billions, or that under Biden, toxic, divisive wokery has infiltrated America's public institutions. Biden is a leader so weak, Vladimir Putin decided he could try it on with Ukraine, whilst President Xi of China casts an avaricious eye over Taiwan. When you're in that bubble, the Trump derangement syndrome, you can't see that whilst president, Donald Trump didn't start a single war. He grew the economy. He reached out to tyrants like Kim Jong-un of North Korea and Putin and Xi, all in the pursuit of peace. Trump's legal problems, his supporters argue, are based upon a desire to prevent him from becoming president once again. A left-wing establishment stitch-up of this flame-haired populist, this fearless anti-woke man of the people. The great irony is that if this concerted campaign against Trump is designed to destroy him, obviously it's going to have the opposite effect. His opponents thought that they would put him in jail. Instead, they've put him in the White House.